Hi, everybody. My name is Justyna, and I'm the founder of Women in Blockchain Canada. I am also a Super Team India member, and I'm here with another Super Team India member, Aabys. How are you doing, Aabys?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Awesome. So maybe you can go and let the audience know in terms of your background in technology and Solana.
Yeah, sure. So around the end of 2020, when the lockdown was going on, I started to code, and just exactly almost a year after that, around the end of 2021, is when I got into Solana. So previously, I was mostly working with Python, JavaScript, and building some projects on my own or with my friends. But around the end of 2021 is when I got my first ever grant approved, as well as I got into Super Team around the same time. It was, I think, November 2021, where I built a Solana dashboard. So at the time, I just used my existing knowledge and learned some basic of Solana and got into this field and started to learn more. And then worked on some other projects, got some other grants. But one major win for me was the fact that in 2022, there was a Solana global hackathon called Summer Camp, in which I came second in the payments track with my project called Stellasol. I was the founder of the project. And that was one of the major pushes for me in this field, because I was able to learn a lot, build a lot of things, make much better connections, and work on something that is actually big, on something on my own. Although ultimately there were some legal and regulatory issues with it, because uh, it's a payment application. So due to that, there were some issues because of which we could not continue it. But later on, um, oh, I think my video has stopped.
I think it's frozen. Yeah, I noticed the same.
Oh, wait, let me check it out. Maybe we can restart again. Oh man. See, it's weird.
It's really, yeah, we can restart. And also, just to let you know, what I could do is still keep the voice and what you said and put a photo as well for that part of the video, but see if you can restart it.
Yeah, that also works. Let me just see what's here.
Yeah, like the poster I made for your other, for someone else, I could put that on top of the video and we would have our voice, just in case.
Yeah, just let me see that. Okay,
It's
it's back.
working again.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, go ahead, continue. So you were saying you started doing the payments process and then there was like, and yeah, of course, because finances are connected to the banking. So then you have to have like the regulatory body. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so then what happened?
So because of that, I could not continue working on it. And then there was another hackathon called Sandstorm Hackathon, in which I built a project. And actually, the story is quite interesting about it, because I was having my school exams going on, but then I saw that the deadline for the hackathon is increased by a day, and that was the same day on which my exam ended. So I had just one single day, actually just a few hours to work on something, and I thought maybe I should give it a shot. So I went through some projects and went through all the categories and all the description of what can I work on, and then I decided to build a Discord bot which could enable sports betting, on-chain sports betting via Discord. So I built this project, and it actually ended up winning the first place in the sports betting track in Sandstorm Hackathon. So that was also a big win for me. And then later on, I was also invited as a speaker in Solana Breakpoint 2023, just last year. And yeah, and honestly, although I don't work on anything full time, but I do work on something, which is I run monthly developer audits for Solana Foundation. It is not like an official work, so I won't really call it my full time thing or something like that. It's just like Solana Foundation's developer relations head, Jacob Creech. He sends me this list of bunch of developer repositories of Solana developers, and what I do is I run my script, and using my Python script, I basically sort those developer repositories based on if a specific developer is a Solana developer, if they're a multi-chain developer, if they work on Ethereum, if they work on something else, and basically helps them to categorize the developer statistics and trends based on that.
Mm, interesting. So that's going back to sort of your work with dashboarding and
Yeah.
which was your first project. But also like the Python script sounds sort of also using like is it using artificial intelligence? That sort
No,
of
no, it's not using that.
no, so it's more like you just see it, they already categorize. You're not analyzing the code.
No, actually, I am analyzing it, but it's not like a AI based classification. It's more of I search for specific keywords and code patterns, and based on that, I categorize the code. If it's Solana based, if it's Ethereum based, if it's something else, and then I tag them basically, and then they are further processed on.
Interesting. Great. And so what will you say to people who are getting started, moving maybe I don't think you mentioned you were part of Ethereum, but you were already coding. But how could people get support in the ecosystem?
I actually had not worked in Ethereum ecosystem before. Although I would say if you are an Ethereum developer already, then of course you can make transition to Solana, but that transition could be easier by using two things. So we have, I think they are worth highlighting. So in Solana, we have Neon EVM and Solang. So these are two things that you could use if you're an existing Ethereum developer to easily either, first of all, get your hands onto Solana or migrate your existing Ethereum application on Solana. So Solang is a compiler that basically compiles your existing Solidity code into Solana code. So let's say you want to create Solana programs. Let's say you want to build Solana applications, but you don't want to learn Rust because maybe Rust is just too hard, or maybe you just don't like the learning curve. So you can use your existing Solidity skills to compile that code into Solana code. So that is what Solang enables. Neon, on the other hand, is the EVM which is on Solana. So it basically allows you to extend your existing applications on Solana. So you can use Ethereum wallets like MetaMask or other tools like Hardhat, all these developer tools, and you can extend them to be applicable on Solana itself. So if you want to get started with Solana, maybe you can first of all start with trying these tools out to see how well you can migrate your Ethereum applications. Or if you want to completely start from scratch into the Solana ecosystem, then obviously you can get started with Rust. And Rust is actually not mandatory as well. If you want to, let's say, build front-end applications, you can learn about Solana's account structure and how the authentication and signatures transactions work. And you can just fetch data from blockchain, and you can maybe show a dashboard. You can build these basic project as well before ultimately moving to Anchor and Rust and building Solana programs.
So does that mean like they would use an API just to move the stuff to be compatible with the regular front end using like JavaScript or something?
So Neon, it's an EVM itself. So it's not a simple API, although I've not actually used it, but I think it's actually quite simple. You just have to enter their RPC in your application. Although I don't know the specifics. For that, you have to see the developer documentation. With Solang, it's more of a compiler. So you can just use your existing code, and using Solang, you can compile it to Solana bytecode. So that is what these two enable.
Okay. Thank you very much for that clarification. And then I would like to know what kind of pain points did you face when you did enter the ecosystem in terms of coding and things like that?
So I got started with Solana in 2021, like I mentioned, and at that time we did not really have developer resources. I mean, we did have them, but they were not detailed enough, or maybe they were outdated because at the time, even now, Solana is moving really fast. We have a lot of new things coming up. So I think the pace of Solana's innovation is not really, I mean, I would say the pace of Solana developer content is not keeping up with the pace of Solana's innovation. For example, we have state compression Solana, which is like one of the hottest things going on. But I don't think so there's enough resources for that. So I think I would say developer resources, documentation, and I think even excluding documentation, YouTube videos are not enough because most people prefer learning by watching videos and seeing tutorials. So I think maybe there is enough documentation. If you dig deep into it, you will find good documentation from Solana's core docs, or maybe some tutorials. But YouTube videos is something that I would say is lacking. I think that is one of the pain points for beginners. But as you move on towards being an advanced Solana developer, then you would start working on Solana programs using Anchor. So I think in that, a major pain point is the fact that once again, because Solana moves so fast, there are so many new changes. Things break often in terms of their versions. So let's say you're working on Anchor version XXX, but then if you're trying to upgrade to some other package, then that version may not be compatible with it. So you'll face some weird errors which are hard to decode. So I would say in both, in terms of a beginner and for someone who is maybe more deep into the ecosystem, both have some pain points. And I think both are linked to the fact that Solana moves so fast that there are some of these, developer related resources or tools that are just not able to keep up with the pace of that.
Yeah, no, I understand that. It's like almost like the operating system changes while you build an application, then you try to deploy your application, but now your operating system isn't working.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good analogy. Yeah.
Red Hat does that for industry. They make it streamlined so that when you deploy, it's the same whether you do it on testnet or like production.
Hmm.
So yeah, emerging. So what about one of like the I mean, I personally know and a lot of other devs have said that DeFi is an emerging trend, but is there anything else I mean, you can speak to DeFi as well, of course, but if there's anything else that you can think of, that would be great as well.
Yeah, so circling back to what I said earlier about payments, I'm always bullish on payments. Specifically, for example, if you see, we have Sphere Labs, which is a payments platform, Solana. So I won second place in Summer Camp Hackathon in payments track, and Sphere won first. And Sphere is like shipping really constantly, and they are always adding new token support. So I think payments is definitely evolving really fast. But more than payments, I think the biggest, or I would say the most hyped up thing right now is Deepin. So decentralized physical infrastructure, because we have projects like Helium, which are 5G networks, which they earlier had their own blockchain, but now they last year they migrated to Solana, which was a massive success for them. And then we have Render Network, and then we have Hive Mapper, which is building decentralized maps from around the they're mapping every single part of the globe.
Can you
So I think,
repeat that, the last two projects, please?
yeah, so I talked about Render Network. So the render is basically like AI artificial and GPU clusters. You can train AI models on that. And Hive Mapper is basically something you could say that it's basically decentralized Google Maps. So all these projects are on Solana, and I think because how fast and cheap Solana is, you could really build these real world projects which are more of like on the hardware side, but you can power the core architecture or the software using Solana blockchain. And these projects are like really emerging really fast. And for example, Helium is one of the most profitable companies in Solana as well right now. And yeah, I think Deepin is definitely one of the things to look out for. Other than that, I think DeFi is also having a really good time these days, because we had DeFi summer in Solana in 2021, but then since FTX crashed, we had a lot of liquidity gone, and DeFi was not really doing well. But I think since Solana price moved really well, and then we had all these good airdrops, DeFi is coming back to action, and we have all these amazing DeFi products launching, and the products which were already there, they are also performing really well. So I think, yeah, DeFi, payments, and Deepin. These three things are my top three picks for the most innovative sectors in Solana right now.
Well, thank you for that. And what do you feel about the collaboration and support like after you've come into the ecosystem, and how did you find it?
Yeah, I think one of the best thing about Solana ecosystem is the support you get, because people are very open to help you. For example, if you need any help, you can just tweet it out or tag Solana developers, and they will always be keen to helping you out. And in Solana as well, we have some really good communities. For example, Super Team is arguably the best community in Solana, because they help builders from all around the world, and they have local super teams for specific countries as well. So you can get along with your own community, you can get help from anyone, and you can meet not only developers, but you can meet the best content writers, you can meet the best designers in the ecosystem. So super team is definitely a really helpful group. Similarly, let's say maybe if you want to get help from somewhere else, then we have Solana Stack Exchange launched for developers, so you can ask questions there. And of course, if you have any other questions, then don't be shy to ask, because it doesn't matter if someone is just a new developer or someone is a really experienced developer. If someone works for Solana Foundation, if someone works for Solana Labs, always everyone is really happy to help you out. So just reach out to people, and I think people are really really helpful overall speaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think I think you're right. There's a lot of people working together, especially within the super team as well, and it's a pretty open community. And with that
Yeah.
said, what are you excited about in terms of the vision for the long term and the future in the space?
Yeah, so I think both in terms of community and technology, both are evolving really fast in Solana. So the community, I think it's stronger than ever. People who survive FTX crash and then they are still here, they are doing really well, and we all are having a good time. So I think we don't really have to talk much about community. It's doing amazing. But with technology, I think I'm really excited about that, because we are yet to see the release of Fire Dancer, which is going to scale Solana to some extreme levels. So Fire Dancer is going to be a major thing for us. And then we have a lot more DeFi applications launching, and with state compression, the possibilities of launching so many real world applications is endless. So I think I'm really excited to see what's coming up next.
When you say state compression, what do you mean? Like about, yeah, I've never heard about that before.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, state compression. Can you explain
Oh,
that?
state compression. Yeah, so state compression is basically, it allows you to store a large amount of data on chain for a really cheap cost. So the whole idea is that in Solana, everything is an account. So it's like one of the most repeated things out there. You would hear this often if you're a developer, that everything in Solana is an account, whether it be a program, whether it be your wallet, whether it be some on-chain piece of data, everything is an account. But the issue is that account data is a bit expensive. So what state compression allows is that you could store a specific piece of data into the ledger space. So first of all, it chops up the data, off-chain data, and instead of storing the entire data on-chain, it creates a hash of it and only stores the root hash in the blockchain. So that makes it
Is that
more cost
CNFT?
efficient.
Is
Yeah,
that
you could.
is
Yeah,
that
so
an
actually,
example of it?
sorry.
Is that the example, a CNFT, like you Merkle
Yes,
tree?
yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, CNFTs are like one of the best examples of state compression use cases.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood that. And
Yeah.
what about the advice you would give for people who are coming into the ecosystem?
I think a lot of people, so this is a very specific advice. I think a lot of people who are coming to the ecosystem, they want to work on something and then they want to collaborate with others. And the first thing that you ask to someone else if you want to work for them, or the first thing that you share with others if you want to introduce yourself, is your previous work history. So people often wonder that I just got started. So how can I make sure that I have some work history built for them to see? But I got started, right? So I don't have anything right now. So I would say the biggest advice for me is that you should contribute more to open source, because even if you don't have a project of your own, there are a lot of open source repos. You can contribute to them and you can build your own proof of work, basically. So for example, winning is not always required. There are a lot of bounties out there. You should always participate in those bounties if those interest you. It doesn't matter if you win or not. Just participating in a specific bounty or builds your own proof of work. So I would really say that instead of just keeping on learning, just keeping on trying to build side projects, you should do something which is a bit more which provides some value, even if it's not winning something, even if it's not providing, even if it's not doing something big. As long as you're doing something that's providing value to someone, then that's worth of doing, and that's worth of sharing as well. It's not like you have to win to share something. If you're participating in bounties, if you're participating in hackathons, you should definitely share those as well.
Mm-hmm. And I guess for the last question is, what do you think is the most rewarding part of being in the Solana ecosystem?
I think I would go back to the same community aspect of it, because Solana Stack is amazing, but I won't say like Solana is super unique. There are a lot of great other blockchains as well. Aptos, Sui, Monad is launching. So all these other platforms also provide things like low cost, fast fast transactions and high scalability. All these have these features. But what differs Solana from them, in my opinion, is the fact that Solana's community is really strong and they're really kind and they're really helpful. So I would say it's one of the best part of Solana, that no matter if you are someone who's completely new, no matter if you're someone who is a lot more experienced, people won't really see you differently. As long as you have the thing inside you that you want to build something, you want to do something different, then people will always be there to help you, no matter what's your experience level in this ecosystem.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. There's anything specific.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop the recording there. One moment.